Have you ever noticed how some people seem to make progress in English effortlessly, while others struggle for years, even though both work hard? The secret is not always about studying more or memorizing vocabulary. It's about mindset, the small shifts in the way you think that completely change the way your brain approaches learning, confidence, and speaking. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman named Ayesha. She had been studying English for 5 years. She could read novels, understand podcasts, and even write short essays. But when it came to speaking, she panicked. She thought, I'll never speak fluently. I always make mistakes. I'm not smart enough. That small belief, just a tiny voice in her head, was stopping her from showing the world what she knew. But then something small happened. She read a quote, "Progress, not perfection." She decided to try a tiny shift. Instead of fearing mistakes, she told herself, I'm learning. Mistakes are part of the process. That one small mindset change led to a huge result. Within weeks, she started speaking more confidently, participating in conversations, and even giving short presentations. Ayesha's results weren't because she suddenly studied more. They came from her mindset shift. Here's the first small mindset shift I want to talk about. Focus on progress, not perfection. Many learners are trapped in a perfection trap. They say, I can't speak until it's perfect. Or, I'll never be fluent because I make mistakes. But here's the truth, perfection is a mirage. Nobody speaks perfectly, even native speakers make mistakes. The real magic happens when you focus on small improvements every day. Let me give you another example. There was a man named Rivi. He could read English newspapers fluently, but he never spoke. One day, he decided to speak 1 sentence a day to a friend. Just 1 sentence. That's it. The next day, 2 sentences. Slowly, over time, he went from single sentences to short conversations. His mindset changed. He started valuing effort over flawless performance. And guess what? That tiny habit led to huge results. He started thinking in English, speaking confidently, and even joking in English with his colleagues. The second mindset shift is stop fearing mistakes. They are your teachers. Think about a child learning their first language. Do they worry about making mistakes? No. They babble, they stumble, they mix up words. And what happens? They learn, they grow. The fear of mistakes is something we build as we grow older. We start comparing ourselves to others, judging our own words, and fearing embarrassment. But the learners who succeed are those who shift their thinking. Mistakes are feedback, not failure. Here's a story about Lena. She moved to a new city and wanted to make friends in English. Her first attempts were full of mistakes. She said, I go to the market instead of I went to the market. Instead of panicking, she laughed and corrected herself. And do you know what happened? People appreciated her effort, engaged with her, and she started speaking more confidently. That small mindset shift, seeing mistakes as part of learning, opened doors to huge results. The third shift is embrace small daily actions instead of waiting for big leaps. Many learners wait for the perfect time to practice when they feel confident, when they have hours to study, or when they're in the mood. But real progress comes from tiny, consistent actions. 5 minutes of speaking aloud daily. 1 short paragraph written in English, repeating a few sentences from a podcast. These tiny efforts, repeated day after day, compound into remarkable fluency. Let me share a story. Ahmed, a software engineer, wanted to improve his English for work. He thought he needed an hour every day to make progress. But his busy schedule never allowed it. So we tried a tiny change. He would speak one sentence while brushing his teeth, read one paragraph on the bus, and write one message in English before sleeping. 2 months later, his fluency skyrocketed. It wasn't magic, it was small, consistent daily actions that added up. The fourth mindset shift is focus on understanding, not memorizing. Many learners trap themselves in endless vocabulary lists and grammar drills. But real fluency comes from comprehension and connection, not memorization. Think about learning a song. You don't memorize each word first, you listen, feel, and repeat. Soon, the lyrics come naturally. Learning English works the same way. Understanding patterns, listening actively, and connecting words with meaning leads to faster, more lasting progress than memorization alone. Here's a story. Sarah, a student from Egypt, was obsessed with memorizing grammar rules. She could write perfect sentences, but speaking felt impossible. Then she shifted her approach. She started watching short English videos, repeating sentences, and trying to use phrases naturally in conversation. Her brain began to think in context rather than just rules. Soon, speaking became much easier. That small shift, prioritizing understanding over memorization, produced massive results. Another mindset shift is celebrate tiny wins. It's easy to focus on how far you have to go and feel discouraged. But small victories are fuel for your brain. Every sentence spoken, every word remembered, every question answered in English is a win. Recognizing it trains your brain to associate English with achievement instead of fear. Let me tell you about Omar. He wanted to speak English fluently, but always focused on how much he couldn't do yet. I asked him to write down 3 small wins each day, like, I introduced myself. I ordered food in English. Or, I answered one question in class. Within weeks, his confidence soared. His mindset shifted from scarcity, I can't do this, to abundance, I am making progress. That small shift unlocked huge results. And here's another subtle but powerful one. Shift your focus from fear to curiosity. Instead of thinking, I'll embarrass myself if I speak English, think, I wonder what I can say. I wonder what I can learn. Curiosity transforms fear into energy. It makes learning exciting rather than stressful. For example, Jamila loved English movies but never tried speaking. She shifted her mindset. Instead of fearing mistakes, she asked herself, I wonder if I can describe this scene in English. She started speaking aloud while watching, pausing to repeat phrases. The tiny curiosity-driven habit gradually expanded into confident conversations with friends and colleagues. And here's the overarching truth: big results always start with small mindset shifts. Small changes in how you think, valuing progress over perfection, embracing mistakes, taking tiny daily actions, prioritizing understanding, celebrating wins, and choosing curiosity compound over time. These shifts rewire your brain, reshape your habits, and unlock results you once thought were impossible. Think about it visually. Imagine a tiny snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it's small, barely noticeable. But as it rolls, it gathers more snow, growing bigger and faster. That's exactly how small mindset shifts work. Tiny thoughts, repeated over time, turn into massive results. Let's explore another mindset shift: that is incredibly powerful. Stop comparing yourself to others. Comparison is a silent killer of confidence. You see someone speaking fluently and think, "I'll never be that good." Your brain immediately generates resistance, fear, self-doubt, hesitation. But here's the secret: comparison only matters if you let it. The learners who succeed are those who focus on their own progress. Let me share a story about Zane. He was a university student who constantly compared himself to a classmate who spoke English effortlessly. Every time he tried to answer a question, he felt small, anxious, and stuck. Then one day, he made a small but powerful shift. He started keeping a personal progress journal. Each day, he wrote down what he spoke, what he learned, and one sentence he tried in conversation. He stopped comparing himself to others. Within weeks, his confidence soared and speaking became easier. The shift was subtle, but the results were massive. Another mindset shift. Replace "I can't" with "I'm learning." Words have power. When you say, "I can't speak English," your brain takes that as truth. But when you say, "I'm learning English," it triggers curiosity and growth. Your brain begins to focus on possibilities rather than limitations. Here's a story. Farah used to say, "I can't talk in English. I'll make mistakes." We changed her inner dialogue. Every time she made a mistake, she said, "I'm learning." At first, it felt awkward, but gradually her resistance faded. She began volunteering answers in class, asking questions in English, and even initiating small conversations with strangers. That one tiny mindset change, reframing inability into learning, led to huge improvements. Now, let's talk about embracing discomfort as a sign of growth. Learning English is uncomfortable at first. Your tongue stumbles, your brain hesitates, your heart races. But discomfort is not your enemy, it's your signal that you're stretching, that you're growing. Take the story of Ahmed. He avoided speaking in meetings because it made him nervous. One day, he decided to deliberately embrace that discomfort. He spoke one sentence in English at every meeting, even if shaky. At first, it was terrifying, but after repeating it consistently, his brain began to see speaking English as familiar, not threatening. The resistance faded, and his fluency improved dramatically. Small, deliberate discomfort became a catalyst for big results. Here's another crucial mindset shift: focus on what you can do, not what you can't. Many learners dwell on limitations. "I don't know enough words. I have a bad accent. I'll never be fluent." That mindset feeds fear and resistance. Instead, shift attention to strengths. "I understand most of this conversation. I know a few words I can use right now. I'm making progress daily." Let me tell you about Lena. She had a limited vocabulary and often panicked in conversations. But she started a simple habit every day. She listed 3 things she could say in English. Focusing on what she could do built confidence. Her brain learned, speaking is possible. I have tools. Over time, her vocabulary expanded naturally, and speaking became effortless. Another tiny but powerful mindset shift: value effort over immediate results. Many learners give up because they expect instant fluency. But growth is rarely instantaneous. The learners who succeed consistently are those who celebrate the process, the small attempts, the daily practice, the incremental improvements. Here's a story. Jamal wanted to be fluent fast. When he stumbled over words, He got frustrated and avoided speaking. We shifted his focus each day. He counted the number of times he tried to speak English, regardless of mistakes. He celebrated effort, not perfection. Within weeks, he noticed fluency growing naturally because the pressure of immediate results was gone. And here's another subtle shift that changes everything. Think in English, even in small ways. Instead of translating every word from your native language, start forming simple thoughts in English. Narrate your day silently or aloud. Describe what you see, what you feel, or what you plan. Your brain starts training itself to think directly in English, reducing hesitation and building fluency. Let me give you an example. Sarah, a university student, struggled to speak because she translated everything in her head first. I suggested a small daily habit. Describe one activity in English each morning. For instance, I am making tea, or I am walking to the market. Within a month, her ability to form sentences spontaneously improved significantly. This tiny mindset shift, thinking in English, produced huge results. Finally, one of the most powerful shifts of all. See English as a tool, not a test. Many learners see speaking as a performance they must perfect. But English is a tool for connection, expression, and growth. When you shift your mindset to see it as a means to communicate rather than a test to pass, fear decreases, confidence grows, and learning becomes enjoyable. Think about it visually. Imagine a plant growing. You water it a little every day. You don't force it to grow overnight. You care, nurture, and give it sunlight consistently. Slowly, it blooms. That's exactly how small mindset shifts work. Tiny, consistent mental changes lead to big results over time. Now, let's bring all these small mindset shifts together. Think of them as building blocks. Each one might feel minor on its own, focusing on progress, embracing mistakes, celebrating small wins, thinking in English, but when combined, they create a foundation for massive results. Let me tell you a story that ties it all together. There was a young professional named Omar. He had been studying English for years, but never felt confident speaking. He made mistakes, stumbled over words, and constantly compared himself to others. One day, he decided to try something different. He implemented just a few small mindset shifts. Focus on progress, not perfection. He stopped expecting flawless sentences and started celebrating each attempt. See mistakes as learning opportunities. Every error became a lesson rather than a failure. Take small daily actions. He committed to speaking one short paragraph every day, even to himself. Think in English whenever possible. He started narrating small actions like cooking or commuting. Celebrate tiny wins. Every successful sentence, no matter how simple, got acknowledged. At first, these felt minor, almost too small to matter. But within a few weeks, something incredible happened. Omar noticed he was speaking more confidently in meetings. Words came faster. Mistakes no longer stopped him. People started engaging with him more. And what seemed impossible before speaking freely in English was now happening naturally. This story proves the ultimate truth. Small mindset shifts compound into big results. Just like planting seeds, nurturing them consistently, and giving them sunlight, your daily mental habits shape your growth. Tiny changes in thinking produce visible, lasting improvements in speaking, confidence, and fluency. Here's a simple visualization you can use. Picture a staircase. Each step represents a small mindset shift, a small change in how you think, speak, or respond to mistakes. Step by step, you climb higher. Each step feels minor alone, but soon you're looking down from the top and realize you've climbed much farther than you ever imagined. That's the power of small mindset shifts. And here's the final mindset to carry with you. Consistency beats intensity. You don't need to study for hours at a time or perfect every sentence. Just show up daily. Practice speak. Think in English, celebrate small wins, and reframe mistakes. Over time, your brain rewires itself, resistance fades, and results appear naturally. Imagine yourself 6 months from now. You've applied these small shifts daily. Your fluency has improved. Conversations feel smoother. You make mistakes, but they don't scare you. Your confidence is higher. Your English feels like a tool, not a test. That transformation starts today with tiny mindset changes that accumulate over time. So here's what I want you to take away from this episode. Progress matters more than perfection. Mistakes are your best teachers. Small daily actions lead to big results. Thinking in English accelerates fluency. Celebrating wins and embracing curiosity keeps your brain motivated. Consistency beats intensity every single time. Your journey in English is not about sudden breakthroughs. It's about tiny, intentional shifts in how you think, small habits repeated over time that lead to massive transformation. Every time you speak, every time you try, every time you embrace a tiny mindset change, you're building your fluency, your confidence, and your ability to communicate. These small shifts may seem insignificant at first, but trust me, they grow, they compound. And before you know it, you'll look back and realize how far you've come. Remember, it's not the huge leaps that make the difference, it's the small, daily shifts in your mindset that unlock the English speaking potential you've always wanted. You've got this. One thought, one sentence, one small action at a time. That's how big results happen. That's how your English journey transforms from struggle into success. Let's explore another mindset shift that can have an enormous impact, reframing challenges as opportunities. Many learners see difficulties as obstacles. I can't understand this lesson. I keep forgetting words. Or I always stumble in conversation. But what if we flip that thinking? What if every challenge became a clue, a tool, or a stepping stone? Let me tell you a story. Farhan, a young engineer, struggled with pronunciation. Every time he tried to speak in meetings, colleagues sometimes misheard him. Instead of seeing this as failure, he decided to view it as an opportunity. Each mispronounced word teaches me something. Each mistake is a practice session. By changing his perception, Farhan's anxiety decreased. His practice became purposeful, and his clarity in speaking improved significantly over months. What seemed like a weakness turned into his growth mechanism. Here's a small daily exercise for this mindset shift. Whenever you make a mistake in English, write it down in a notebook. Next to it, write one lesson or improvement from that error. Over time, you'll notice a shift. Your brain starts seeing mistakes as a natural path to mastery rather than fear-inducing failures. Another powerful shift is turning "I'm not ready" into "I'm ready to try." Many learners wait until they feel confident to speak. The problem is, confidence rarely comes first, it grows through action. Small mindset shifts mean acknowledging that readiness doesn't come from feeling perfect. It comes from taking action despite fear. Consider Amina, a college student. She avoided speaking English in class for months because she didn't feel ready. Then she decided to try something simple. Answer just one question in English per class, no matter how short or imperfect. Initially, she stumbled, paused, and even laughed nervously. But the action itself created momentum. Her brain learned. Speaking English is possible. I can handle it. In just a few weeks, Amina's confidence skyrocketed, and she began volunteering answers more freely. Now, let's talk about the power of small affirmations. Your inner dialogue shapes your brain. Instead of saying, "I'm bad at English," try, "I'm improving every day," "I can learn from mistakes," or "I'm capable of speaking confidently." Small positive statements, repeated consistently, train your brain to focus on growth rather than fear. Here's a story. Omar, a software engineer, constantly criticized himself. "I sound silly. I make too many mistakes." We introduced daily affirmations just 5 minutes each morning, repeating phrases like, "I am learning English. Every word I speak brings me closer to fluency." Within weeks, he noticed a remarkable shift. Hesitation decreased, speaking became more fluid, and his fear of judgment faded. The small daily mental practice created big results. Another mindset shift that produces huge results is visualizing success. Before speaking, imagine yourself in the situation. Picture the words flowing naturally, your voice calm, and people responding positively. Visualization trains your brain the same way real practice does. It primes your mind, reduces resistance, and builds confidence. For example, Sarah, a university student, dreaded presentations. We started a 5-minute visualization routine. She imagined standing confidently, delivering her points, and even laughing naturally if she made minor mistakes. Over time, the imagined scenarios felt familiar, and her real presentations became far less stressful. Visualization is a subtle but powerful mindset tool that prepares your brain for success. Now, here's one more tiny mindset shift that often gets overlooked: shift from outcome-based thinking to process-based thinking. Instead of saying, "I must be fluent by next month," say, "I will speak English for 10 minutes today, and tomorrow I'll try again." Focus on the process, the practice, the effort, the learning rather than a fixed goal. Your brain thrives on consistent action, not pressure from distant outcomes. Think about it visually. Imagine watering a plant. You can't force it to bloom overnight. You water it daily, give it sunlight, and let nature take its course. That's exactly how mindset shifts work in learning English. Focus on daily nurturing, and results will grow naturally. Finally, let's talk about connecting mindset shifts to emotion. Your emotions and mindset are tightly linked. Positive emotions, curiosity, excitement, courage enhance learning. Fear, frustration, and impatience block it. Small mindset shifts that trigger positive emotions, like celebrating tiny wins, reframing mistakes, visualizing success, create an emotional environment where learning thrives. Here's a story. Lina, a young professional, used to dread English meetings. Every word felt like a test. We introduced a small routine. Before each meeting, she smiled, took deep breaths, and thought of one positive outcome, like successfully explaining an idea or understanding a colleague. That simple emotional cue reduced tension and allowed her brain to focus on communication rather than fear. Her fluency improved quickly because mindset and emotion were aligned. Now that we've explored so many small mindset shifts, let's pause and reflect on the common thread. It's not about drastic changes overnight. It's about tiny, intentional shifts that compound over time. Think of your English journey as a long road. Each small mindset shift is like a step on that road. Alone, it may seem insignificant, but take step after step, day after day, and eventually you'll reach a destination that once seemed impossible. Let's visualize this with a story. There was a student named Hassan. He had been studying English for years, but never felt confident speaking. He implemented a few tiny mindset changes, focusing on progress over perfection, embracing mistakes, practicing daily, thinking in English, and celebrating tiny wins. At first, the changes felt almost invisible. But a few months later, he noticed a transformation. Speaking felt smoother, hesitation disappeared, and he even started participating actively in group discussions. What started as small mental tweaks snowballed into big results. Here's the key takeaway. Small shifts in thinking produce massive results when practiced consistently. Every tiny effort, every reframe of a negative thought, every attempt to speak adds up. Your brain starts seeing English not as a threat, but as an opportunity, a tool to connect, express, and grow. So what should you do next? Begin by picking just one small mindset shift today. Maybe it's celebrating every tiny win, or reframing mistakes as lessons, or speaking one sentence aloud every day. Practice it consistently for a week. Then add another small shift. Slowly, your brain rewires itself. Resistance fades. Confidence grows. Fluency naturally follows. Another story to inspire you, Amina. A student who was terrified of speaking English started by narrating her daily activities aloud in English. 1 week later, she spoke in short sentences with friends. 2 months later, she gave a short presentation at her college in English. The difference wasn't her intelligence or vocabulary, it was the mindset shift and small, consistent actions. Remember, your brain responds to repeated, safe experiences. Each time you speak English, even imperfectly, you're proving to your brain, I can do this. I am safe. I am learning. That's why mindset shifts are so powerful. They train your brain to support you instead of resisting you. Here's a simple daily plan to tie all these shifts together. Morning affirmation. Say one positive English affirmation aloud. Example, I am improving my English every day. Daily micro practice. Speak one sentence or one short paragraph aloud. Record it if possible. Embrace mistakes. Note one mistake you made and write down what you learned. Think in English. Narrate one small activity in your day using English. Reflect and celebrate. List one small win before bed, something you did in English, no matter how minor. Following this plan consistently will rewire your brain, reduce fear, and accelerate results. Tiny shifts, repeated over time, become unstoppable momentum. Finally, I want to leave you with this thought. Every master of English started with small steps, small mindset shifts, and repeated practice. There are no shortcuts, no secret tricks, just intentional, consistent growth. The difference between struggling learners and confident speakers is not talent, it's mindset. It's choosing to see mistakes as lessons, challenges as opportunities, and progress as more important than perfection. So today, take one small step, speak one sentence aloud, correct one thought from I can't to I'm learning. Celebrate one tiny win. Tomorrow, do it again. And the day after that. Slowly, you'll realize something incredible. The small mindset shifts you've been practicing aren't small anymore. They've grown into big results that transform your English, your confidence, and your ability to connect with the world. Remember, every sentence you speak, every thought you shift, every small effort compounds. Start today and watch how these tiny changes in mindset ripple into massive transformation in your English journey. You've got this. One thought, one sentence, one small step at a time. That's how big results happen. So, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've covered today. We explored the incredible power of small mindset shifts, tiny changes in thinking that, when practiced consistently, lead to massive results in your English journey. We learned how. Focusing on progress, not perfection, allows your brain to celebrate small wins and reduces fear of mistakes. Mistakes are your teachers, not your enemies. They show you where to grow and improve. Small daily actions, repeated over time, compound into fluency, confidence, and real communication skills. Thinking directly in English, embracing curiosity, and visualizing success rewires your brain to see speaking English as safe and enjoyable. Reframing challenges as opportunities, replacing "I can't" with "I'm learning," and valuing effort over immediate results turns hesitation into momentum. Celebrating tiny wins, focusing on your own growth, and connecting positive emotions to learning makes every small step meaningful. All these small mindset shifts are like seeds. Alone, they may feel insignificant. But when nurtured with consistent practice, they grow into a flourishing garden of confidence, fluency, and success. Let me share one final story to inspire you. There was a student named Sarah who had been learning English for years, but never felt confident to speak. She started implementing just a few small mindset changes, speaking one sentence aloud each day, celebrating tiny wins, reframing mistakes, and thinking in English. At first, it felt minor, almost too small to matter. But months later, she was confidently conversing with colleagues, participating in meetings, and even giving short presentations. What seemed impossible at first became natural, all because of small, consistent mindset shifts. Here's the ultimate takeaway. Big results are not born from huge leaps. They're built from tiny, intentional changes in your mindset practiced consistently over time. Every sentence you speak, every thought you reframe, every small action you take compounds into progress you will see and feel. So today, I want you to start with one small mindset shift. Maybe it's celebrating one tiny win, speaking one sentence aloud, or replacing "I can't" with "I'm learning." Then repeat it tomorrow. And the next day, slowly, you'll find that fear fades, confidence grows, and speaking English becomes easier, more natural, and even enjoyable. Remember, your English journey is a marathon, not a sprint. Tiny mindset shifts are your daily fuel. Patience, persistence, and practice are your allies. Keep moving forward, one small step at a time, and you will achieve results that once seemed impossible. So go ahead, start today. Take that tiny step, embrace the shifts, and watch your English transform. Big results are waiting for you, and they all start with small mindset shifts. You've got this. One thought, one action, one day at a time. That's how you turn small changes into extraordinary results.